Frank's Scuba Diving Career Advice by Pacificklaus. Okay, next episode in Frank's Scuba Career Advice with Pacificklaus. And like before, I want to point out, this is just an intermission. I'll be back to underwater footage very soon. But, there were requests for such advice. You will probably find career advice, but some of it will be by people who want to sell you instructor development courses. So it might not be the most honest career advice, sometimes at least. And now, what do I want to talk to you about today? How do you start your own dive shop? Now, this is a little bit like a Catholic priest talking about getting married to a woman. I haven't done it. I have not started my own dive shop, but I've been in the scuba industry for 10 years and I have observed what works and what doesn't work. Now, like always with these things, there are 1,000 different situations. Do you want to do this in Sydney, in a city, where there's like a totally different market than in the Philippines where I'm now, where there are vacation divers versus people who might dive every weekend. And, you might have a totally different type of customer base. But I think two things stand out, and I want to explain these by two examples. Now, my point is not to shame anybody here at all. So, that in this series I sometimes would name people and organizations, mainly organizations, dive shops, when I had great experiences with them, but I'm not going to name the bad experiences I witnessed. So, but these are good examples how you should not start a dive shop. So I was managing my friend's dive shop, and that was actually a really cool dive shop, Apo Dive in Sikihor, for a while my friends were in Germany on business. And then this guy came in, probably 60 years old, and mid-60s, an American guy with a young Filipino woman. And then I explained to him, hello, welcome to our dive shop. Do you want to go diving? And then he said, well, actually, he just wants to talk to me. He's starting his own dive shop. And then after a few minutes, he had just met me. He said, do you want to come manage it? And then, I respectfully, politely declined. And then he told me, he doesn't even know how to dive. He has no experience in the diving industry. He's not a dive master or an instructor. He just, has extra money, I guess, and thinks it's cool to have a dive shop in the Philippines. And then I also offered his spouse, do you want to have something to drink? Do you want to have a glass of water? Or as I said, maybe your wife wants to have a glass of water. And he said, well, that's not actually my wife. That's just a woman I have a child with. So basically, he already had a couple of people with their hands in his pockets, basically. And then he still decided to go to a country where he doesn't understand, the laws and the business culture. And then he goes into a field where he doesn't understand the business culture, scuba diving, and he's going to put up a dive shop and he expects to be happy. So this is not going to work for sure. And I've seen it's a catastrophe waiting to happen. He's just essentially going to lose a lot of money. And the other negative example was that I was actually working for a dive shop for a while, and the owner, German guy, was, I guess he initially probably liked diving, but he didn't like diving anymore. He didn't do fun dives, almost never, and he just did not enjoy it. He did not like diving. And then on top of that, he didn't like living in the Philippines. Sometimes things don't work very effectively in the Philippines. That's true, but there are pluses and minuses in every country, and you just have to deal with that. But this guy was just he disliked the Filipinos and the Philippines. And so basically he was in a business he didn't enjoy, and he was in a country he didn't enjoy. And he was just essentially hoping to underpay the locals and his instructors and overcharge the tourists and make a lot of money. And so this man was very unhappy. And I think he did make money, but he did not have a good life. So don't be that guy. Don't be these two guys. Don't be the guy who knows nothing about diving, who just wants something new and exciting in his 60s and start a dive shop. Then, get a Harley Davidson, do a motorcycle tour of the Midwest. That's probably better for your, late midlife crisis. And don't be the guy who just, who hates diving, who just runs a dive shop to make money. And so what should you do, right? Obviously you need to do your market research. You want to be the opposite of these two guys. You want to be experienced in the diving industry, and you want to have good knowledge of the region where you're setting up your dive shop. You want to explore first. It seems like a pretty commonsensical advice, but common sense is not common sometimes, as they say. And so this is my advice for starting a dive shop. While not having started a dive shop, I do think that these are useful observations. And there will be one more episode about volunteering in scuba diving. Again, subscribe, share this on your social media, and come back for, I guess, 2 more episodes. There will be 2 more episodes about what's the right training agency. I apologize, 2 more episodes. What's the right training agency and volunteering. So come back next week, and I hope that was useful for some of you.